Well, for more on breastfeeding in the US, I'm joined by Andrew Bernstein. He's the spokesperson for the American Academy of Pediatrics. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with this reaction to the Trump administration's opposition to this resolution to support, promote, and encourage breastfeeding. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, being a modern pediatrician, of course, breast is best. There's no question that for the vast majority of moms and babies, breast milk is the best option. Now, formula is important. In my Chicago suburban practice, I definitely tell my moms that probably about 10% or so of my moms who want to breastfeed, that are committed to breastfeeding, it doesn't work out because of either maternal issues or baby issues, food allergies or health issues, whatever. But for the vast majority of people, breastfeeding is something that can work and should work out. Then with this, with the General Health Assembly, with the U.S. the delegation trying to thwart the limitation on advertising, clearly that's just the wrong message to be sending out. And then also, what you guys didn't mention was part of President Trump's tweet said something about how it's important to have formula available in cases of malnutrition or in poverty. And that's actually the most important place to have breast milk available. It's cheap, it's free, it's, as you said, it's the best nutrition for mother and baby, and there's no reason to try to get people avoiding it for any reason.
So Andrew, what about this argument that they said that the language in the resolution essentially stigmatized women who either cannot or choose not to breastfeed?
As a general pediatrician, I'm definitely careful never to stigmatize people who choose not to. But that needs to come with the education. If somebody's going to choose not to, or if a baby can't, that has to come with the education of what breast milk really can do for a baby and how good, when it works, that really can work out. And the worry is that if advertising is allowed to go unlimited or unchecked, that women who don't have the information that breast is best from other sources, that they will see that formula is a better option than what might be the best option for them, which is breastfeeding.
So give us an idea of how American healthcare recommendations have changed over the years when it comes to breast versus formula.
Probably in the 50s and 60s is when formula usage was at its highest, to my understanding. And women were actively recommended to just breastfeed, to formula feed instead of breastfeeding. And then in the early 70s, that's when the push for breastfeeding and the understanding that breastfeeding was best really started to take off. All of my training from the mid-90s on has all been that breast is best, and definitely the doctors in the healthcare system are definitely encouraging, by and large, breastfeeding as a first choice.
So what would you say are the broader implications of this type of attempt to turn away from established breastfeeding policies and focus more on formula?
I think when there's a push for formula, you run the risk of denying people that could benefit from breastfeeding the benefits of it, and then especially in underdeveloped or poor areas, underdeveloped countries or poor areas, you can get people started on formula either with coupons or with free formula, that then when those coupons or that free formula runs out, all of a sudden they don't have a milk supply, they don't have a good nutrition source for their baby, and then they are diluting formula or trying to replace it with watered down milk or some other product that's not going to be good for the baby.
Now, the baby formula sector is a $70 billion industry, but we've also seen sales flattening out in wealthy countries in recent years. So what are they doing to try and advertise or market their products to mothers and healthcare providers?
To the healthcare providers, they send representatives from the company. They'll buy lunches for offices, or they'll just try to get in some other way to try to talk about the latest and greatest advances in formula. And without question, it's wonderful that attention is being spent on formula, and that when people can't breastfeed, that formula is as close as possible to breast milk, and that there are other options for babies that are lactose intolerant or milk protein sensitive or allergic or whatever the case may be. But certainly there's a big push for those representatives to get into the doctor's offices. And then for all either pregnant women or new families, every parenting type magazine or every blog that they read, there's always going to be advertising for formula. Free formula samples are sent in the mail to expectant parents. There's always an easy, free or cheap option for somebody to grab a can of formula if they don't want to try breastfeeding or breastfeed at a certain moment.
Certainly can be overwhelming for new mums. Thank you so much. Andrew Bernstein there, spokesperson for the American Academy of Pediatrics.